The Chicago Bears this Monday will be facing off with the Minnesota Vikings. This is a rematch from the last matchup that went into overtime. The Chicago Bears were successful in the only onside kickoff this whole season. They still lost. It was a crazy game. But now this game's different because the Bears have Thomas Brown as their head coach, Chris Beatty as their offensive coordinator, and Eric Washington as their DC. So the coaching change for the Bears and new interim head coach Thomas Brown. This coaching staff struggled against the 49ers against Kyle Shanahan. This is another great coaching staff they got to go against. And I'm interested to see how different Eric Washington calls this game against Minnesota Vikings offense. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, they had huge days against the Atlanta Falcons. Both of them had 120 plus yards receiving with touchdowns. Sam Darnold threw 5 touchdowns. The Vikings had success against Eberflus and his soft coverage, especially in overtime. So Eric Washington, I think you need to play aggressive. You need to blitz. You need to light Sam Darnold's ass up. You need to get after him. You need to make him feel you. Montez Sweat needs to have a huge game. Darrell Taylor, these other pass rushers, I need to see something from them. And Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, I need to see some blitzes out of them. Kyler Gordon, we saw him blitz a couple times this season, but when he does, he's usually successful. So let's see some Kyler Gordon blitzes. Let's just get after Sam Darnold. Let's not give him time to just dice us up and carve up our defense. When you are getting after Sam Darnold, when you are getting home and you're sacking him, he struggles. You see the turnovers. So let's try to do that. Let's play a little more aggressive with our play calling. And yeah, you're just going to need big performances from your defense. Justin Jefferson really didn't do much of anything. I think he had 2 catches. Jalen Johnson, shadow Justin Jefferson. Let's do that, or else he's going to have a huge day. And Kyler Gordon, he's going to have to be huge in the slot. Tyreek Stevenson, I don't think we should start him this week. I think Terrell Smith should get his opportunity, give him more of the reps, because Tyreek Stevenson all season after the Washington game, his play has been bad. So this is a game. Let's experiment. Let's see how Terrell Smith does getting majority of the reps. Let's see him start, and let's see if he can do something. Let's see how well he could play against Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison went off last week. I don't know how much that adjustment. I think Jordan Addison had a couple big catches on Terrell Smith. But Terrell Smith, when he's been in there, he's made the most of his opportunities. He had an interception against Green Bay in the goal line. So I want to see him get the opportunity to make more plays. And I know Tyreek Stevenson, he's a good corner, just probably having a down year. But this could be something that could also spark more of a fire in him for the next 3 games after this one. I just want to see more of Terrell Smith. Jonathan Owens, I thought he had a pretty good performance. Hopefully Elijah Hicks is back too, because Brisker, we still have him down. If we can get home and the pass rush is there, everything else will be fine. The secondary, I trust the secondary to play well. It's just us getting home. If Sam Darnold, like I said, has all the time in the world, he's going to dice us up. This is an opportunity for us to see how good this defensive line is, and this is a tryout. The season's over. We want to see who's going to be on the roster next year, whether Poles is deciding that or the next GM. This film, I know we have to improve the trenches, but can Chris Williams, a guy who has 2 sacks this year, can he be somebody that's still on the team next year? Can Darrell Taylor, can that be a guy that we maybe extend in the offseason? If he has a big game. He really hasn't done much of anything after week 1 against Tennessee. He had a huge game against Tennessee, but after that, he really hasn't done much of anything other than trying to kill Brock Purdy. So, if Tremaine Edmonds keeps playing like shit and we can't stop the run, because Aaron Jones, he's had success against us every game he's played us, no matter if he's in a Packers uniform or a Vikings uniform. So, Tremaine Edmonds, he's been a huge reason why our run defense hasn't been as good. TJ Edwards has been lights out. So, I'm interested to see if we move off of Tremaine Edmonds in that contract, because we could save $12 million, I believe, if we move off of him next offseason. And we have Jack Sanborn, who's solid linebacker, him and TJ Edwards, especially if we hire a coach that transitions this defense into a 3-4. That's Sanborn and TJ Edwards. I'd feel confident in those two, especially for cheaper than Tremaine Edmonds out there getting paid highest paid linebacker money, top of the line linebacker money. So yeah, this is a trial for this defense. I want to see them play more aggressive. I want to see Montez Sweat get after the quarterback and have at least a sack. 4.5 this year. He's having a really down, disappointing year. I want to see Booker get after the quarterback. Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, those are the guys that we need more from. We just signed Jonathan Ford, guy off the practice squad with the Packers. So this is yeah, this is tryout time. Let's see who's going to be on this roster next year from this defense. We can't in the first half have 2 yards of offense. 4 and out, 3 and out every drive. That can't happen. So Thomas Brown, this offense, you need to come out hot. They had a touchdown in the first quarter against the Minnesota Vikings. Roshan Johnson had a touchdown. Green Bay, we got things going in the first quarter. So I need this offense to be aggressive, get those quick screens, those quick out routes to our playmakers. Keenan Allen, I expect him to have a huge game in this game. DJ Moore, those 2 guys, they're going to be huge. They were huge against Minnesota. And Minnesota has a secondary that's gettable. It's just that pass rush and the blitzes that they hit you with. So if we could get those quick screens to DJ Moore, allow him to get out in space, make plays for us, get those first downs. Let's not abandon the run game. I know Minnesota has one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Still, don't steer away from that, because getting a run that is 2 yards, a 2nd and 8 is better than a 2nd and 10. A 3rd and 6 is better than a 3rd and 10. So let's keep that run game in there, and let's not steer away from it. Swift, if you keep giving him carries, he'll break one every now and then. There'll be a successful run at some point as long as you just keep feeding him. We need those screen passes to Swift too, out the backfield. Those usually have great success. That's how you beat a team that blitzes heavy, that's great at blitzing. You hit him with those screens. And I think Thomas Brown did a great job of that in the first game against Minnesota. We put up 27 points on them. Caleb Williams had a huge day against them. 2 passing touchdowns, 346 yards passing, I believe. A couple great drives. And these were all in the second half. All of his passing touchdowns were in the second half. So fourth quarter, damn near. Put up 3 great drives to position us to go into overtime with Minnesota. But I want to see this team, like I said, come out hot. I want to see us do something in the first half. Do something in the first quarter. We don't want to go down 21-0 into halftime and then we want to play inspired football. That shit's I'm turning the TV off. I don't want to watch that no more. But Caleb Williams' development is crucial. I want to see him continue to play well against division opponents, especially. This offense, get the ball out quick. The screen passes. Get Caleb confident early. Keenan Allen, this is a guy that had a lot of success. 86 yards against Minnesota last game. DJ Moore had 106. Cole Kmet had 64. Get the ball in our playmakers' hands early and often. And don't abandon this run game. Thomas Brown, go for it on 4th down. Be aggressive. I want Eric Washington to be aggressive on defense. I want you to be aggressive on offense as well. And it's not like we can't play with the Vikings. We could have played with the 49ers too. It's just the effort was poor from our players. Offensive line just didn't want to play. So the season's over, but there's still 4 games, a lot left to play for. A division team, you want to play spoiler, let's go beat on a really good football team. We can play with these teams. We could play with anybody. It's just the effort has to be there. The execution has to be there. The play calling, we can't play conservative. We gotta play, we gotta call the game aggressive. And we could beat Minnesota. We can. I don't know if I'll pick them. If the Bears have 4 sacks defensively and the Bears hold Minnesota to 20 points, they win that football game. And the offense, if they score points in the first half and they get at least 20 points as well, like 23, they can win this football game. That's what's frustrating about being a Bears fan in this season. The team is not terrible. It's a good football team. We've been in a lot of football games. I mean, there's been the rare case of blowout. There's been a couple blowouts this season, like 3, Arizona, New England, and, against the 49ers, but there's been so many close games, so many devastating losses. It goes the same way how I was saying defense, it's a trial for them, seeing who's going to be on this roster next year. Same thing for the offense. How this offensive line is playing, Braxton Jones, if you keep playing poorly, you're going to get replaced. You're not going to have a starting position next year. Coleman Shelton, if he could keep playing at a decent level, I mean, other than him getting ragdolled, getting thrown around, he was playing well for a good stretch of games. So we got to see who on this offensive line needs to get replaced. I think right now you're looking at 3 to 4 guys that got to get replaced with starters. In free agency, maybe a Trey Smith, a Drew Dahlman, 2 of those guys. But it Will Campbell at the draft. So it's really about seeing what areas need to be addressed. Hopefully this team comes out with some fight. Hopefully it's not another blowout. But right now, my predictions for this game, I think the Bears keep it close. The Vikings, 7-point favorite in this game. I think the Bears cover. Division games, the Bears play well against Minnesota too. So I think they'll cover. I think the Bears will have another shot to win this football game, but in a close game, they lose. I think the Bears, Caleb Williams has another 300-yard performance. Keenan Allen has 100 yards. DJ Moore has 100 yards. Cole Kmet has about 50. And Caleb has 2 to 3 passing touchdowns. But at the end of the game, Sam Darnold and the Vikings win the football game with the last drive. That's what I think. But that still is a lot. It's still encouraging. It's still like, all right, we didn't get blown out. It was a close football game. Caleb Williams played well. 300-yard performance. DJ Moore, our playmakers are playing well. That I would feel a lot better about than us just getting blown the fuck out. Obviously, it might be in devastating fashion. I mean, Kevin O'Connell, this Vikings team, they don't lose one-score games. So I think at some point they'll pull away from the Bears. But I think this Bears team covers and they play a little more inspired and they play with a little more fight. Defensively, I think, Kyler Gordon gets a pick. We get about 3 sacks in this game. Austin Booker gets a sack. Montez Sweat gets a sack. And DeMarcus Walker get a sack. That's my predictions for the game. Let me know down below in the comments who you have having a big performance offensively and who you have having a big performance defensively and your score prediction down below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Peace. But I would want him to get an extension done with, Keenan Allen. I would want him to stay with the Chicago Bears for maybe 2 or 3 more years because he's coming off his best season last year with the Chargers.